Well, folks, we've got a start to the sidecar race, the first sidecar race of the weekend, and not a huge field, but what quality field we've got out there. Spike Taylor and Astrid Hartnell out there in the front. They haven't seen the front of the track for a long, long time. In fact, they're not seeing it anymore with Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter going through on the Carl Cox Motorsport number 80 machine. But I'll tell you what, Spike Taylor's fighting back. Spike Taylor is fighting back there in second place. We've got Alex McDonald and David Gorse from Christchurch. Newcomers to the sport, not really. Andy Scrivener, 9 times New Zealand Superbike champion on sidecars class. He's out there now riding a long bike. He's always done his other riding on what we call a short bike, where the engine's underneath the rider. Aaron Lovell and Tracy Bryan had a big crash last weekend, and the sponsor said we want that bike out there, so made a couple of phone calls, and it's a family thing on the sidecar. It was Tracy Bryan. It's now husband Steve Bryan getting on with the sidecar, doing the swinging, and they've done a lot of seasons together as well. Andy Scrivener get down there and getting used to the long bike and the adjustments to that. And we're joined by Aaron Lovell and for the sidecar race, and you're not out there, bugger, at all.
Yeah, unfortunately we're not out there. Yeah, last weekend come to a bit of an abrupt halt, but yeah, the bike's out there, and these guys will do it proud. As Spider was saying, these guys, yeah, they've been a long time partnership and on a short bike, but they've always wanted to have a turn on a long bike, and yeah, look, they'll be going really well.
They've also done a lot of racing on a classic bike as well as a 600cc Formula 2 bike. The wife, Tracy, owns a 600cc bike. Well, I don't know who owns it exactly, but most of the years she's been running with various passengers there. Latest one is Tina McEwen, and occasionally you've seen Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan out there on a classic machine, also doing the short bikes. And they've been a team that started off in, I think, 85, 86 from Tauranga, and then Andy Scrivener kept on with the sport, whereas Steve Bryan disappeared and came back into the sport a handful of years ago, and a great supporter of all sidecar racing as well as solo. He's got classic machines he lends to people. The combination, the husband and wife team of Steve Bryan and Tracy Bryan there, brought in Maria Costello to do the Suzuki Series as well last year, so right behind all forms of motorcycle racing, and absolutely enjoying themselves doing it out there. And lap record, we're going to get a lap record today. I'm sure we're going to get a lap record. In fact, we've already had one there. It was a 1:10.657 set here last year by Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter. They've gone to a 1:10.082, a new machine. It's a 2008 machine, but this is the machine that Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes brought out from the UK for the Suzuki Series, and it stays here. It was purchased, I think, by Carl Cox Motorsport and Gavin Sokovic, and it's great to see it here and doing some absolutely sensational riding. And Colin Buckley hadn't been in sidecar racing since, I think, a big crash at Manfield in 2002. Last year Barry Smith was piloting with Robbie Shorter on the side. They flipped it over at Ruapuna. Barry ended up with a broken collarbone. Hey, we don't want a sidecar sideline, so they reeled in Colin Buckley. He came straight down here to levels in Timaru with his partner, and got out there with Robbie Shorter on the bike and broke the lap record of Steve Bryan. So there we go, number 18 machine going through, slowing a little bit. The battle is on further down the field there. We've got Spike Taylor and Astrid Hartnell going through there in second place, and look at this guy in third place as well. And Alex McDonald, he's one of the funniest characters at the racetrack. He is the oldest person in New Zealand to ever be done under the Boy Racer loss of traction wheel. A loss of traction, and you're sort of never proud to have a bit of a conviction behind you, but one of those I'd say was a bit of a feather in your cap. And Alex McDonald, 73 years old, doing the driving down the back. Used to have his son Glenn McDonald doing the racing, and has now got he's now got David Gorse doing the pastoring. Number 93 there, and a bit of a gap there by themselves. Andy Scrivener and Steve Bryan doing it down the back straight. We've got the Pete the Pirate and his passenger Matt Gibbs. Pete had Darren Prentice for many, many years, but Matt Gibbs elected to step in this time round and having a good weekend. Have suffered from reliability issues over other seasons, but they've got Ian and Warren Burke from Wakatani coming and preparing the machines, and the only, well, it was going to be a DNF last weekend. He ran off the track at Invercargill and parked up there, got it fired up again, so a clean sweep. He's also, Pete the Pirate has had a win here about 3 seasons ago. And we go back to the 49 biscuit fight. He's having a good time this weekend. Might be out there in last place. Warwick Dimmicks and Will Climo. They put in plenty of time at the track, but Spike Taylor elected to spend most of Friday with them, and he peeled off 2.9 off his fastest lap records, as fast as lap time. So Aaron Lovell, what do you see out there?
Yeah, it's good race. Colin and Robbie, yeah, out in front there with a very large lead. It's a ex-Tim Reeves bike from the UK. As Spider was saying, that the Carl Cox team have purchased. A very beautiful prepared machine. And of course out in second there is Spike Taylor and Astrid, and they're doing very, very well. It could be coming in second there.
Yeah, we talk about these bikes. It's a LCR made in by Lewis Christian Racing in a place called Switzerland, and two main competition bikes at the world level. There's the Windles made out of England. The Windles not quite shining as well as the LCRs. And folks, you're out there in the crowd, go and have a look at some of these sidecars once they whip the fairings off, and just have a look at the engineering beauty of these things. It's absolutely incredible what they like. Just you can eat your dinner off some of these things. Although I eat my dinner at a few odd places, certainly it's just a beautifully prepared machine.
I was very fortunate to go through the LCR factory when we was over in Switzerland, and went to the Isle of Man and stuff. So, and just the preparation and going through that factory was just absolutely fantastic. Just to see all the what he actually does there and how it's all made. It was awesome.
In terms of parts, we've been, I wouldn't say suffering, but over the years we've had to build our sidecars in New Zealand. Now we're starting to get a few imported. In terms of parts, what's their stock like for some of the older models, and what's their pricing like? We don't talk about the pricing, Aaron Lovell.
Yeah, don't talk about the pricing too much. But no, he's actually got all the parts there, and I think if for any of the older stuff, very easy to get made and carry on to do that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's not a big deal. But he has got a lot of stuff just sitting there on the shelves.
In terms of maintenance for these machines, chassis-wise, how much work going on in replacing stuff? You know, rod ends and bits and pieces. They have a service life, or what's your schedule on replacing parts, apart from when you crash and have to?
Yeah, that's become quite often, actually, unfortunately for us. But no, to be fair, the bikes are very, very well made. And as we've said, go in and have a look at the things and have a look on how well they're actually made. And the maintenance side of things, we'd go through probably every couple of years and do the rod ends and stuff like that. So, yeah, very.
What about tyre combinations? You know, like in my day, we were sort of throwing a tyre on 2 rear tyres for a season. What's the rate of usage of tyres and the compound options, Aaron?
The compound options that we get over here is different than what they get over in the UK, unfortunately, but we're going to try and sort that out in the off season and get all the right tyres in here. But you really need a good set of tyres on these things, otherwise they do turn around backwards, as we proved last weekend.
What width are the rear tyres? They're what are they, 220 or 240s?
Oh,
bigger than that.
10 inch, whatever that is in
10 inches, yeah, that's about 255.
Yep. Yeah.
255, yeah. And what about the front edge? That'd be an 8 inch?
The front's an 8.2 and the side chairs is an 10 inch wide too.
And in terms of side wheels, we've got the white flag out, Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter going through there. It is Astrid Hartnell doing the swinging for Spike Taylor on the Wairarapa mobility shop, a shop that Spike Taylor owns. He's an ex-New Zealand champion, was New Zealand champion 2 seasons ago. I think he's had 3 over his years, in the 2002 or thereabouts he was a champion, so he's had it every few years. He gave up sidecar racing for a lot of years, ended up spanning for one. Well, it didn't take long before he was shoved in the hot seat and got addicted to the sport again. So tyre-wise on the sidecar, is it a preference to have a new tyre on there, or we used to run old tyres on there because we didn't want the grip and the grab of the sidecar wheel? Well,
over the years, since we purchased the LCR, we weren't running very many new tyres. But yeah, we have found when you need to, obviously, up the pace and carry on up the front, yeah, you do need to put it, like especially a new rear on the front and the side. They're still quite sticky and they don't seem to understeer or anything, do anything bad like that. So definitely a new rear.
All right, the checkered flag is up there waiting for Colin Buckley. Another clean win with Robbie Shorter giving the thumbs up as they go through the start-finish line. Spike Taylor up the speed there in the last lap and put in a 1:11.954. In fact, he's now down to the 1:13s, but they go through there and take a good creditable second place there. Obsolete Iron Motors in whereabouts are they? They're in main road at Pleasant Point, just down the road about 16 k's from here, into classic custom car and motorcycle fabrication, car and motorcycle service, Warren Fitness and classic vehicle displays, so they are supporting the sidecars, and also the land speed record attempt by the home of the twin-engine Triumph. Oh, I seen that thing the other day, twin-engine 675cc Triumph engine thing going to Bonta. Yeah, absolutely. Where did I see that? I saw it at a bike show down in Christchurch, an absolutely beautiful machine, and that is the sponsors of the sidecar race, the Absolute Iron Motors of Pleasant Point, just down the road. So Buckley Shorter, Taylor Hartnell, then we go to Alex McDonald and David Gorse, followed by Steve Bryan and Andy Scrivener.